Select 4. Select all. Select 10.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Vtracc Challenge Season 24-3. We're the second round at Silverstone. My name's April Carlsbad and I'm joined today in the commentary booth by Adrian Dubrovka. How you doing, Adrian?
Good day, or good evening, everybody. Well, the weather today is very similar to what I think is the weather that people will be racing today on this What a Beautiful Cricket today.
Definitely the question on everyone's mind. We also have Sion KP running the cameras for us today. Thank you, Sion, for that. First of all, championship standings in the AM class. Eric Gregus is currently the AM class leader, having taken the win in Suzuka in the closing stages of the race, followed by DJ Overdrive in second, Wukong in third, then VT in fourth, Kenneth VT in fifth, and I'm Vtracc Zames in sixth. Kaito Nasser sits in seventh, we have Amethyst VTuber in eighth, Ubi Deuce in ninth, and Zul Akihara wraps up the top 10 in the championship standings right now. Lucas Lichten leads the pro class currently, with Ruby Nikamata in second. Midnight Hurricane wraps up the top 3 in pro. Psycho Kaiser in fourth, with Reina Miata sitting in fifth. One of the favourites, I think, to win the last race in Suzuka, but just had a bit of an eventful time of it, and so probably coming back in for revenge this race. Sixth place, Dirty Kohai. Seventh place, we have Agay Laggy. Eighth place, season regular Isa Ambra. Ninth, we see Damizero Zach. And 10th, Aston Yampire as the wraps up the top 10. Current team standings sees Project EQ Racing leading the way with 39 points, 11 points clear of second place Grip Runners Racing. Third place is X-Ring VTuber Racing Club, and fourth place is X-Ring and iGo VTuber Racing Club. Fifth place, Queen's Design Pan and Formula, and in sixth, Fox VTRC X Bagu Racing. A lot of alliances coming up in these teams. We love to see a bit of collaboration. Seventh place, Technoburst Rev Up. Again, another collaboration. Eighth place, Technoburst Racing. Ninth place, Bagu X Vitality Racing Team. And in 10th, X-Ring Spirits.
A lot of those teams, for sure, are mixing up very well with each other. In some of them, we can see a very long-standing veterans, and in some cases we see an absolute newcomer to the current series right now. And we will probably see the test of their performance, how well they have been training together for the past 2 weeks since the last race on Suzuka, especially in the current weather that we are seeing to be having.
Definitely the changing conditions that we're seeing. Although it is raining, the track is down as greasy right now. Are drivers taking wet tyres? Are they taking slick tyres? Really hard to say what's going to be best, so everyone's hoping that whatever choice they make turns out to be the right one. Just following our Vtracc Zames round, and Cops is that starting a flying lap, I believe?
Similarly, like in Suzuka, the main team was being the last samurai. I think they are going to look this time for the shiniest stone of them all, for that grudge of silver that will bring them a win. A lot of gravel traps on sides will definitely not make it easier.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to find success looking for hidden treasure buried in the gravel traps. Usually that's not how racing works.
You never know.
You know what?
we have it already. There were quite a few interesting races on Silverstone where some very interesting and surprising things happened. You never know what will happen this time. Who knows? Maybe somebody will even do a 2 tires overtake on somebody.
That's very true, and if that happens, I will be amazed. You will know because I will be screaming.
We all will.
Alright, on board with Dirty Kohai right now, starting a lap, coming up around Cops. Still looking a little bit timid out there. Oh, big snap of oversteer on the exit as well. Yeah, these are definitely difficult conditions.
I can suspect a lot of stress will be put on drivers during that S section. Not only a greasy temperature, low temperatures on the tires themselves, or overheating depending on what tires you are using. And the fact that this is a very tight section of a corners, which require an perfect timing, perfect rhythm to take into.
Oh yeah, and as soon as it's wet, it just kind of upsets the rhythm, doesn't it? Makes that fine balance you're looking for just that little bit finer, easier to slip around on it. Are there any other corners here you think might be ones to look out for? Just considering the conditions?
Definitely the last corner, not only it's gonna be more slippery than usual, but the inside curb. And not only in this corner, but many others will be very dangerous, not only to drivers themselves, but to the tires as well. As Silverstone is one of those tracks where puncture is relatively easy to get if you're not careful.
Also be careful of the slippery curbs and punctures. Especially on the turn exits, whenever it's wet, that's usually what gets me. I know you were mentioning the last corner as well. Like, the one before is one that I'd be more worried about, just getting wheel spin and traction control bogging you down, or worse yet, just spinning out when you're trying to wrap up a good lap.
One thing I was always scared of the last corner is when you go way too far right, you have a risk of actually hitting that corner right there.
Oh, the barrier.
Yes, a lot of times I was scared, like I was too close, because like it's like you're driving, you don't see anything, and then you suddenly see that this corner have such a sharp curvature, and you don't know really what you are doing, what you are supposed to do, especially if you haven't have somebody left to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're seeing first laps coming in. Currently, provisional pole position is held by Isa Ambra with a 2 minutes 3.2 lap time. Currently seeing a decent little spread of the people who have put in a lap time. Current separation of 1.8 seconds. Scratch that. That is 4.4 second spread right now in the field. Almost feels like there's two groups emerging. We're seeing two people with 3 and 4 seconds off of pole right now. I'm wondering if that is where someone's made the right choice on tires and someone's made the wrong choice. More laps coming in. Lucas Lichten takes second place. Dirty Kohai sitting in third currently.
Right after Seikokaza is having the fourth lap time, Eric Greg is right now on the provisional P5, and Midnight Hurricane coming on the sixth place.
Got a bit of a shake-up looking like it's happening already in the field with Eric Regis, our current AM Championship leader, qualified right in the middle of the pro drivers at the moment. What do you think? Do you reckon he'll stay there?
Yes, we will see. Lucas Lichten's last race's pace was impeccable, meaning he did very little mistakes. And what other people will do, we will see. So I'm not sure if that was the question that you asked. I was zoned out for a second there.
That's all good. That does answer my question, so you're all good. You could have just snuck that one in, I've never known. I guess it does highlight the skill of just driving a clean race, doesn't it? Something that Lucas Lichten was very good at. During quite a dramatic Suzuka, he kind of just came up out of nowhere because he quietly ran a fairly calm and clean race right up until the end, where he managed to slip through and make the most of the opportunities he had. Isambra improved pole position down to a 2-minute 2.6. Midnight Hurricane taking second provisionally in qualifying, and Rubu Nakamata in third at the moment. So at the moment, out of our three pole position drivers in our three podium position drivers in Suzuka, only one of them is right now in the top three. We see Ruby here. As we see Lucas here back in that iconic black and white Porsche. That thing always looks like a handful to drive, but Lucas Lichten makes it look easy.
Even more so because he just scored P1 in the current qualifying session. With 12 more minutes to go, there can be still a lot of changes. We can even see that within the next span of next 10 minutes, the weather is supposed to change. And that might change as well. The current weather predictions are not necessarily the ones that we will see in 10 minutes. So just like we will be surprised, the drivers will be even more so.
That's a very good point. It looks like the track is going to accelerate, so these lap times might not actually be anything. It will just be the opportunities that drivers can make the most of in the next 10 minutes. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So there you go. Stay tuned if you want to find out.
Midnight Hurricane is 10th up with his lap time, and he improved his... I was supposed to say P2, but Reina Miyata, just like a second after, got P1 in the current qualifying.
Yeah, Reina Miyata coming straight back in with a statement after Suzuka taking provisional pole position by setting a new fastest lap, 2 minutes 1.8 exactly. Hell of a statement with that one as well. And continuing our trend, I think of only one of our podium drivers from Suzuka being in the top three right now in this qualifying session as well. I guess we'll see if that keeps up. Looking very tight for second though. Following Eric Gregus round, look through Maggots, we see someone going off in the background there.
Yeah, it was Sebastian Rossi.
Okay.
You think it was one of the puddles? Wouldn't be surprised.
Oh no, it looks like it just lost grip on the racing line. Just pushing too hard in qualifying maybe, where, let's be real here, only one lap counts anyway. Continuing on with Psycho Kaiser here, driving up what would be the start-finish straight if we were Formula 1. We are not. With a very fast right-left chicane, and then come up to the very tight hairpins here. Looking very clean so far. And this exit's the important one as well. Being able to get the power down out of this corner is so important because you're flat all the way through from here. That looks good. That looks very good. Bravely using the exit curve as well, regardless of how wet it is.
If Psycho Kaiser manages to keep up this pace, he might have even a chance for a possible P1. He's almost a second up with his race time. Now, coming to the last wood coat.
Yep, this is it. It's all the hard work's done. Now it's time to just bank it and see what
Almost.
Yeah, almost. That's a very good lap time though. Getting second place is really good with a 2 minutes 2.0.
But Lukas Lichten is right behind him in a lap time right now. He's still a lap behind, but seeing that the weather seems to be improving, we might see even better lap times very soon.
I guess this is where it's really hard to say, because I think wet tires is probably the preference right now. So the drier the track gets, the more they're likely to overheat. So there's every possibility that the track could get faster, and the tires just can't make the most of it. So probably that is close. It's so nearly provisional pole for Lucas Lichten. Our second driver to put in a 2 minutes 1 second lap time. Following Isambra here down the hangar straight, yeah. So coming up to Stowe, nice downforcey corner that'll suit that Honda NSX very well. Seeing some cars out in front as well though. Hopefully the lap stays clean. Still looking good through the chicane as well. Not a lot the NSX's downforce can do at these speeds, but nonetheless manages to keep it nice and smooth, get some really good acceleration going. It's a very busy part of the track, that really. Of course, the ideal in qualifying is to not have other cars around you. You really want to have as much space to yourself during qualifying, don't you?
But sometimes you can't really choose. I mean, that was probably a space that was like 2 minutes ago, probably very empty. But suddenly a lot of people were starting their sessions, starting from the pits again. And there you go, the situation changes within the span of a minute.
A very good point. Eric Gregis rounding the final corner of the track, currently half a second up on his best lap time. Just waiting to see what it turns out to be when he banks it. It is 6th overall and current AM pole with a 2-minute 3.0. Back to Isambra as well, wrapping up their lap time. Round of the final corner to wait to see what it banks us, and it is a pole position, a 2-minute 1.3. This track is really getting quick now.
And he's improving his time even more. Over half a second by now.
And we've barely even started the lap. This track is getting really quick. Maybe ISO just knows how to make the most of it right now.
You think the Hondas will have any particular advantage on any section of the track?
It's hard to say because Silverstone's an odd one. There's bits of each sector that benefit a car that's got a lot of downforce, and the NSX is a very downforce heavy car. Like, there's maybe the only one that would be particularly weak would be Sector 1, or sorry, yeah, Sector 1, where the mid-engine acceleration might not be quite as good because there's just not as many opportunities to make the most of that over a front-engine car. But that's about it really, because otherwise for Maggots and Beckett's you want downforce, for Stowe you want downforce, for Abbey you want downforce. Yeah, it's a difficult question, that.
Interesting, isn't it? We know that Bentley will definitely have some advantages after it's one of the least burning cars on the grid in terms of fuel consumption, with a relatively decent out-of-the-corner acceleration. We know that M4 is an overall all-rounder, so it will be relatively good pretty much everywhere.
It's true.
We know that the Porsche will be making a great use of its maneuverability that we have seen a few times already on Suzuka, especially in the maggots and buckets.
Yeah,
we can definitely expect Aston Martins to be quite a powertrain, especially on the long straights.
Definitely, and we can even see that showcased in the lap times right now. Kirihara in 3rd currently. We see a little bit of contact there. Yeah, Kirihara in 3rd right now with a new lap time, a 2-minute 0.6, one of 4 2-minute zeros we've seen so far. Midnight Hurricane takes pole position with a 2-minute 0.4. That is your professional pole position right now, as the track has actually ticked over to being fast. You can see in your top right corner. That means it's time to get those slick tires on and make the most of it, especially with only 3.5 minutes left in qualifying.
And they are still making their laps quicker. Raina Miata is almost about to break the 2-minute mark, assuming that she completes her lap in a good manner without losing that speed that she currently has.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to wait and see, because this grid order is already shaken up a fair bit from what I'd expect. There's a few people where I wouldn't expect to see them normally. But I guess that's just making the most of the conditions that you've got. following Reina Miata again through the third sector at the moment, coming up to the last two hairpins here. Fairly tight right, and then another tight left again. Very important exit here. It's a little bit out of shape over the exit curb, but nonetheless still looks good. Full confidence through onto the Wellington Straight. We are still expecting a big improvement from this lap as well. Looking at the delta right now, just a case of making the most of these last two corners. Last one corner now. Very tricky double apex woodcut.
That's 1 second of a difference.
Yeah, 1.1 right now.
But right behind there is Midnight Hurricane, who might pretty much instantly get the position back.
Looks like it's not. It's very tight.
Almost.
Reina Miata is your
5,000
pole for now. Yeah. Our first 59 of the session, 59.58 for Reina Miata, and just 5,000 behind Midnight Hurricane. Lucas Lichten, you see here, coming up into Abbey now. That suspension really putting in all the work it can to make the most of the grip through that corner. Lucas Lichten's definitely not one to underestimate. I spent pretty much all of last season underestimating what Lucas Lichten could do with his car, and, well, you can see that number 1 on the number plate. Kind of proved us all wrong last season. I'm sure he'll do it again today.
Now, the very interesting change. Mukong has gotten an incredible improvement over his previous time, and he got not only P1 in AM class, but he got quite a stack of positions with his over a second improvement from his last lap time.
Yeah, currently fifth overall provisionally in qualifying.
If he manages to keep that difference, then quite a few cars there is between him and the rest of the amateur grade. Imagine all the time that he could have saved that way. Could be another pro promotion.
Could be. We do love a good rumor about a pro promotion around here, don't we?
Always.
Icer Ambra, your current provisional pole sitter, navigating round through, is that the village section? Can't remember my corners here.
That was the club, and now you're getting up to the Abbey.
Ah, yeah, thank you, yes.
The farm curve, and now we have the village corner.
I thought the village corner was the second hairpin here, this one here.
This one is apparently called the loop. I guess because it's looping back to the start-finish straight.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, you are right, my mistake. Today I learned. What was Psycho Kaiser coming out of cops and just finished a lap, just finished the session, having put that car in 4th currently. Back on board with Isambra, still racing to finish this lap before that wait time at the top of the screen runs out. No fear about not making that though, as we're on the home stretch now, waiting to see what this lap time is. What's it going to be? That is a new fastest lap, 158.327 from Isa Ambra. Lucas Lichten running out the closing sections of the lap as well. Currently in 6th. What can he do to improve this? Can he move up? Nope, it stays 6th for Lucas Lichten with that 59.827.
One last person having, from what I'm seeing, the last valid lap, capable of scoring better position as Zul's, Akihara's, Aston Martin Vantage V8.
Yeah, the one with the here getting caught up a little bit with somebody else. Is that Ruby Nakamata?
I think it's Dirty Kuhai's car.
Oh yeah.
So I can be sure for certain.
Yep, you're right, my mistake. Nonetheless, still wrapping up this lap, and that is a 2-minute 2.48 for Zul Akihara.
Well, now time for the last preparations. They have an updated weather forecast, which is apparently saying that we'll be having more rain within the span of the next 10 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, looks like it. Track's currently damp and it's only going to get wetter, something for the drivers to think about during their last bathroom visit. Your grid for today, Isa Ambra takes pole position, followed by Ruby Nakamata in second. Reina Miata takes third place, looking to get revenge in this race after Suzuka. Fourth place, Midnight Hurricane. Fifth place, we have Psycho Kaiser in that classic Aston Martin we love to see. Lucas Lichten in sixth place there.
Mukong in a P7 in his Mercedes. Ryoma Kirihara in P8, followed by Dirty Kuhai in number 53 BMW. Sebastiano Rossi's Lamborghini. Eric Kregis in yet another Mercedes. Numizero Zach in his Ford Mustang. Kenneth VTuber with number 11. Jordan Branch in the Bentley Track.eu Nations Cup livery, followed by Zul Akihara's Aston, DJ Overdrive's Lexus, Kaito Nasa's Aston, G-Fox Foxington number 66, very good number, Evan Shensoi in Reiter, Imentric Zanes on P20, then Ryuma Tateyama in P21 in a Nissan GTR, followed closely by Aaron Laggy. Agay Laggy.
An odd formation there, having Agay Laggy in the next row over. I would have thought we'd see them in the left-hand lane instead of the right-hand lane being longer like that, but oh well, the game will do. I'm sure the game had its reasons for what it's done. Final bathroom breaks over. Our drivers are now having one first look at what the track looks like ahead of the race start, trying to, whilst anyone in second or further back is scheming about what moves they can make to move forwards. Anyone you're anticipating making a move into turn one here?
I definitely expect the outside, the people on the P2, P4, P6 and so forth to probably be having a slight upper hand in the very first corner. Them being able to use that offside to their advantage. I think like the people on inside will be having a very hard time.
I think you're right, because that line tightens up a lot to the apex, doesn't it? And then you've of course got the wet curb to contend with.
Happily, it's not too tight of a track, it's still relatively wide. But will their skills allow them to be driving, well, safely?
Yeah.
If any of you watched, or we watched some other time, how it looks like from the perspective of a driver, those tracks seems to be way smaller than they actually are. I was myself surprised when I was driving and I checked on my own replay for how much space I actually had left.
Yeah, it's amazing how much tighter it feels once you're inside the car going at speed, doesn't it? Although, if we're expecting the outside line to have an advantage, I'm still curious to see what Reina Miata manages to pull off from third on the inside line. Might only get up to second, but nonetheless, that's all progress.
What the advantage of people on the inside might be would be hopefully a better position to get into the next mashup of canes, right, that are coming right after.
I guess
If they manage to keep up on the right side, they might be able to secure a better position to turn in. Will that come to the fruition will probably depend on the horsepower and how early they will be able to get step on the gas pedal.
I imagine so, but if you ever gave me the choice of which side I'd want to be on going through Maggots and Beckett's if I was trying to pass someone, I would want the right-hand side. Just because those two right corners, especially the last right-hander in Beckett's, I always find it really helpful to try and keep someone off of the optimal line. If you can do that, that can be a big advantage to yourself.
Drivers are entering right now to Brooklyn.
Yep, just coming up through Woodcut, wrapping up their formation lap. They've had a look at the whole track. Now it's time to do that again, but a lot faster. And no holding position this time. Overtaking will be allowed as drivers anticipate the green flag. Everybody forming up. Just adjusting back and forth, getting to the right position. Still got a bit of a ways to go, so some time to figure all that out while the drivers still cruise at 70 kilometers an hour, 70 miles an hour, sorry. Feels incredibly slow when you're driving it, even if that is quite fast. 5 red lights, waiting for them to go out, and this light race to go green.
Green light, give it all you can.
And there we go! No drive-thrus, so everybody went safely within the manners of their own spaces. And seems like there was no contacts on P1. They all are getting relatively safely into the first sector of the track.
Yeah, and
We saw
already
right
right
now-
some movers in the field. Reina Miata moves up to second, passes Ruby Nikamata. Lucas Lichten up into fifth, I think I saw there as well, coming up into Beckett's. Might have just
Ooh.
lost out again to that Bentley there, which is Jordan Brunch. Yeah, it looks like Lucas Lichten's managed to move up and then tumble back again. Following Ryoma Tateyama coming up through Beckett's there, taking up the back of the field.
That GTR will be tough to handle in this one. It's a very top speed heavy car, but there isn't much in terms of aerodynamics on this one. So unless Ryoma Tateyama manages to keep the acceleration and it's
Sorry to interrupt you there, we've got Lucas Lichten off there, not entirely sure what's happened there. Oh, big contact into this chicane. Lucas Lichten right in the middle of it. We're not sure how it developed, but oh god, a lot of secondary contacts there as well. That's going to be not insignificant damage for a lot of people. Maybe not worth pitting, but for Lucas Lichten it might be a different story. He seems to have been involved in every collision there. So there's been another one there as well. Seeing Wukong there as well with front end damage.
I think it will be fair to assume that in this weather, even small insignificant damage will be having a great effect on people driving.
I imagine so.
We even saw for a split of a second the electrics of Jordan Branch's Bentley to be already been damaged. We saw his front lights flicker for a second.
Yeah, all came to blows. Looks like we managed to escape turn 1, but we were still not safe from lap 1 troubles. Jordan Brunch here putting pressure under Zul Akihara there. It's an interclass battle, so of course it's not worth any points, but nonetheless, Jordan Brunch, being in the pro class, no doubt wants to get through and then carry on as quickly as possible. They'll peek up the inside here into Maggots, but just can't quite get it done. Obviously, Zul Akihara running wide there, and Jordan Brunch manages to slip through. See Evan Chensoi there, running off track a little bit there after Cops. Not sure what happened there. Oh, looks like he's lost the back end for Cops for some reason.
Nice
Just keeps
save.
out the barrier. That's the relief. And yeah, just finding a safe way to rejoin the track. We do love a driver who takes the time to rejoin safely. Rejoining Ryomi Kirihara here, chasing down his teammate. Nice at the moment. A little bit of a slip there from the back end of that Aston Martin, but still, so far so good. We see Dirty Kohai in the pits as well.
We don't see much damage on the car itself, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is something more, which is, well, some underlying damage that you can see.
For sure. You know, regardless of how the car looks, if the driver says it feels bad, then it's probably bad and needs fixing. Following Zulekihara again here, coming onto the Wellington Straight. Following Jordan Brunch. We saw these two swapping places in Maggots and Beckett's just now. Seem to be more or less holding position now and just finding their pace. Lucas Lichten running 14th. A lot of damage on that Porsche. As if that car wasn't difficult enough to handle in these conditions. Lucas Lichten really playing on hard mode today. Stop go 30 for Dirty Kohai as well. Pit lane speeding, I presume? Just goes from bad to worse.
Could be. But does it necessarily need to be stop and go? I mean, it could have been a drive-through, but probably there was such a speed difference for entering the pits that it probably was deemed by the game to be an appropriate punishment.
I mean, maybe, but I didn't see the drive-through before Dirty Kohai entered the pit lane. Watching Sebastiano Rossi here, just navigating Maggots and Beckett's, getting very sideways in that Lambo. Lucas Lichten side by side there as well with is that Zach? Yeah. Just slotting in single file, have another peek up the inside for Stowe. Looks like Dak running a little bit wide there, letting Lucas get alongside, but is the outside line now for this chicane up through Vale. And Lucas Lichten just doesn't manage to get the move done. Still managed to get alongside though, coming up through Club. Seeing a fantastic move around the outside there for Lucas Lichten. And it's Lucas Lichten up into 12th now. Absolutely not put off by the damage on that car at all.
He must have made a decision that keeping the fourth driver behind him to be a better option than letting him through. Assuming that Lucas Lichten is able to get quicker laps on quicker lap times per lap basis that way.
Well, considering he's trying to overtake Sebastiano Rossi here as well, I imagine he does think he can go faster if he's on his own. Remember, Lucas Lichten's a very, very quick driver and is just trying to regain positions that were lost early in the race. So it's all about progress right now. I guess Lucas Lichten thinks that progress is overtakes. See the Lambo going into the pits, Lucas Lichten
things
following
like him. Damage. That's certainly to fix damage.
Yeah, definitely. Be a good chance to repair it as well, especially if these drivers aren't anticipating any dry conditions in this race. They can just get new tyres on, and then just have to make them last for the next 53 minutes.
And there we almost saw it. We almost saw it, precisely what I was talking about. You're going there on the right side, you have somebody right next to you, and then suddenly that wall nears in. That slight twitch that DJ did in order to evade the walls.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. Because, you know, there's no just cutting it and giving the time back if you have to. If it's a wall, it will hurt. I think DJ Overdrive defending that position very well there, managing to just hold off Ivano Shensoi there. Take a look at Eric Gregis right now, your AM class leader right now, running in 7th, chasing down Ryoma Kirihara right now. It's already a very strong position for an AM class driver. I imagine he's just trying to settle into a rhythm here, but whether or not the dirty air of following Kirihara is going to upset that or not, might force Eric to make some difficult decisions. We see Tateyama just rejoining the track as well. Not sure what happened there. See Kaito Nasa. Oh my goodness. Kaito Nasa just completely under braking for the corner and running into the back of, is that a Bano Chensoi? Yes, it is.
Even though the track is dumb, it might not seem like much, but when driving, not necessarily from the replay, but when you are driving, you can clearly see how much of water is being thrown onto your windshield. Could it be that he was so much zoned in that he didn't notice a corner?
Could be, just blasting past the like distance markers that show you how far into the next corner, the ones that we so often use as reference points for braking. Hopefully the cars aren't too damaged from that. I'm in Zane's right now, trying to hunt down G-Fox Foxington. Amazing name. Trying to follow closely through Beckett's there. It's difficult in a narrow, heavy car to follow like that, because of course, in the dirty air, you've got a lot of downforce to lose. But nonetheless, just staying close. Imetrix is looking very comfortable here, though. That car's looking like it's driving very smooth right now. Yeah, nice and clean, just hitting all the marks and making the most of this curved acceleration. But a very difficult one in the wet, but doesn't look too bad there. Number 0 Zach in a Ford Mustang here. Navigating farm there and being overtaken into village. Looks like lapping. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I think it is kind of.
I don't think so.
Yes, it was Canad VT.
Oh yeah, you're right. Back to Imetrix Zane's here, hunting down G-Fox. Looking very close at the end of the Wellington Straight here, coming up through Woodcut. Luffield, sorry. Now it's Woodcut. Now we're coming out of Woodcut. Still looking very close, putting a lot of pressure on 7-10 separating these drivers right now. See Nami 0, Zach coming in for that mandatory pit stop. Drivers have to make one pit stop during this race. They must change tyres during it. Everything else is optional. Carrying on with the chase here, I'm in Zane. Still trying to hunt down Foxington. Still within a second, very consistently within a second, in fact. No doubt Foxington watching his mirrors, getting a little bit nervous about this. Back to Eric Gregis, currently hunting down Kurihara still. Still seems to be just running a good rhythm, and Kurihara, no doubt, knowing that as long as that gap stays good, his position is fairly safe, but one mistake here, or a series of small mistakes, and suddenly Eric Gregis is going to start looking for a way through. The canoping is difficult to negotiate from the cockpit of a race car.
I can tell you from my experiences that the 9 seconds that he has right now over the B2 AM class driver can melt relatively quickly over the mistake.
That is very
Especially,
true.
what's now interesting is that while in Pro Class we see the front runners to be more the cornering cars, the AM class is right now being built mostly, the P1 and P2, from the power cars. Both the Mercedes and the Aston Martin V8 Vantage are powerhouses, with their top speeds and acceleration being among one of the better ones on the grid.
That is true. Something you can say as well for the Bentley of Jordan Brunch we're seeing just going into the pits here. And I guess there's that difficult decision as well of downforce is good for getting a good lap time, but top speed is good for getting an overtake done and good for defending a position as well.
Jordan Branch went the Lotus way, essentially make your car the lightest and then it's quickest everywhere. Actually, it's according to Lotus psychology of them making the cars. With Bentley being one of the lightest, maybe we will see him improve over time, as he's not that far behind the rest of the grid.
That is very true. And also the first person from the top 10 we've seen pit as well, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, sorry. It's in... Oh yes, it is from the top 10, yeah. So we're seeing a strategy play working out here as well. Yeah, Vtracc saying still following Foxington. I didn't realise how much damage is on that Ferrari as well. You can see the hood on the front is just a little bit loose, a little bit rattling a little bit. That'll no doubt be causing some aerodynamic losses in that car too. Just a reminder as well, this is the chase for third currently in AM. G-Fox Foxington currently holding third in AM, and I'm Vtracc Zane's looking at that thinking, that looks quite good. I want it. Sebastiano Rossi side by side with Rima Tarachiyama here. Coming up into Stowe. Can he make it stick on the long line around the outside? He's got the downforce advantage. Bit of contact there. We see Rossi going offline a little bit, but Rossi holds position for now. Tachiyama forced to just follow through. Jordan Brunch having just exited pits as well. Fresh car, fresh tyres, ready to start making a move. No doubt doesn't want to get held up in this. Runs very wide there and is about to yield the position again.
He did not really have much place to go there other than the upside. The GTR was well on the racing line and no way to squeeze through. But it seems like it proved more effective in the long run and he got much safer and much cleaner overtake.
Definitely, yeah. Found a way around in the end. In fact, I'm Vtracc Zane's hunting down G-Fox Foxington.
All that fight is slowing them down. Even DJ Overdrive caught up right now, and ooh, that was one very slight mistake, and that cost him the rally as DJ Overdrive overtook Vtracc Zane's for P11.
Goes to show how important just keeping it clean and keeping it on the line here, isn't it?
Let's hope for the best that it didn't took Vtracc Zane's out of the rhythm. I just know it after myself that once you get it into that zone, your laps are getting better and better. But one single mistake can break your rhythm, and in the end result you will do more mistakes in the long run. Let's hope it didn't took that rhythm out of him.
That is true, especially because I feel like that's so much more of a danger when you're driving in the wet as well. I feel like the psychological battle is so much more important as soon as it's wet, just staying on top of it, right?
Even more so because it's only gonna get even more wet in the next upcoming 10 minutes. I suspect it's already heavy, as you saw right now DJ literally drifting sideways into the corner just to catch his car.
Yeah. Gonna have to get used to that, DJ, because it is just going to get worse. You're quite right, that forecast does look dramatic.
But all that power.
Okay, Lucky here, currently running in 9th after... Yeah, made good progress so far in the race, actually. We see a drive-through here for Nami Zero Zach. I'll tell you what, sure what for. Presumably track limits. So easy to get caught up by them in the wet. See a replay here. Car just running a little bit wide through. That's maggots. Then just looking for somewhere safe to rejoin. Oh, end of Beckett's. That was it. Still looks healthy though. I don't see any damage on that car from here, but that doesn't mean that Kaito Nasa isn't feeling any.
That could be a very well a puddle in the middle of the racing lane.
Yeah, that's a good point. It'd be quite hard to spot from these trackside cameras I've found, but when you're driving, they're quite easy to spot. You'll feel them.
I think the easiest way to spot them will be if we enter the cockpit and we see an actual steering wheel movements of drivers. Then, especially when they enter the puddles, we will see a very quick, aggressive action on the steering wheel.
Just trying to correct as it pulls the car. Running on board here with Psycho Kaiser. Let's go puddle spotting.
It's like when you are entering the puddles, it feels like you are Zigzag McQueen, but on asphalt. You know that scene from the first movie where McQueen was learning to drift sideways? This is the very same feeling when you catch that drift from the puddle.
Ah, must be satisfying as well, knowing that you just managed to catch it. No, that could have been it, but... Oh,
I think
right there, it just happened as well. That was on the curb though, wasn't it?
There is a fight right now. We can see not only for P3 but also for P1.
Yeah, that's true. We see Hurricane hunting down Nikamata there, but right now we're going to take a look at Isa Ambra currently hunting down Reina Miata. Two drivers have not made their pit stops yet, so no doubt looking at each other wondering who's going to be the first to duck into the pits. As well as also wondering, Isa no doubt wondering if they can get this move done before having to pit, get it done now and not worry about it later. Still looking good there out of that hairpin. Just 4 tenths separating these drivers. Isa Ambra, huge acceleration in that slipstream there. Closing that gap massively coming up to this next braking zone. Thinks better of it, leaves it for now, but that gap is tight. Reina Miata is under a lot of pressure right now. See Psycho Kaiser here as well, joining the battle for third. Ruby Nikamata leading this train with Midnight Hurricane in the middle in that BMW you can see there. Again, looking incredibly close, but just can't seem to find an opportunity to make a lunge a little bit. Just missing the apex slightly there as well, but still keeps it on the track. It's always spectacular as well, seeing how much grip these cars have, even in these kinds of conditions. You can just see a little bit of body roll there going on, and you just know in cars like these, a little bit of body roll means a lot of grip. And a driver who's pushing very hard, just like Zula Kihara here as well, pushing to try and find a way past Agay Laggy here. Agay Laggy climbing back up the field, making a lot of good progress actually so far in the race. Back on board with Psycho Kaiser here, back in the battle for third. Right now these drivers, all 3 of them separated by just 1 second. Seeing those gaps ebb and flow a little bit, but neither drivers just looking for opportunities anywhere they can to just close that gap a little bit and then find an opportunity to get through. And in the meantime, just keeping the pressure on. Very heavy on the brakes here, but still everyone gets it absolutely right. And again, just keeping it clean.
In such weather, it's sometimes even more making sure that the person behind you don't hit you than the person in front of you.
That is very true, but I guess you'd like to think that wouldn't be a problem at this end of the field as well. This high up, these are top quality drivers we've got. Midnight Hurricane, probably the most difficult position here as well. Driving in the dirty air of Ruby Nakamoto. See, Ruby spun there. I'm not sure what happened there. Probably just a move on by herself. She struggled to just get it turned around there. See what happened in the replay. So far, so good coming through cops. And then just a little bit too much curb and it spins the car out, just tips it over.
But another good save. So
Definitely. She did well to keep her on the wall, you're right.
Maybe a bit too much power, a show off.
I think that's just enthusiasm to get back in the race, to get back moving. Ruby Nakamoto rejoins the race in 7th right now, with no doubt looking at that ground in front of her, try and close up and get back in that fight. Psycho Kaiser pressuring Midnight Hurricane for 3rd place still. These two planning on carrying on exactly like they were. Oh, those two have just been incredibly close for so long now as well. So we see Tateyama there just recovering from a spin as well.
That seemed like to be a multi-car spin.
Looks like just losing grip on the exit curb there. The wet curb strike again. Well, Ryuma Tateyama, I'm afraid, as difficult as that is, I think you're not the only one to know that pain right now. A little bit of sideways action there from Psycho Kaiser, but nonetheless keeps it going straight, keeps it looking good. So close right now to Midnight Hurricane. Now's got to be the time. Yes, we see Psycho Kaiser having a look up the inside. Not trying it here, though.
He is just showing himself in a mirror.
No, he's faked the lunge there and managed to make an opening for himself there, going the long way right now. Trying to find a way around out onto that slippery curb, but still up alongside. Now it's just a straight, soon it'll be just a straight top speed battle. Nope, Psycho Kaiser tucks back in behind Midnight Hurricane on the peek up the inside. Little dummy send up the inside, didn't work this time. Midnight Hurricane didn't leave the door open this time. Oh my god, look how close those two are. Psycho Kaiser, a little bit of a hesitation there on the corner as well, probably just a little bit unsighted because that windscreen is right now just full of BMW. But not scared of that at all, just keeping the foot nailed and keeping those cars within 2/10 of each other. Another peek up the inside there, no move this time. Just keeping it nice and tight on that inside line, just trying to keep that gap to small. Tries another dummy lunge, but ends up just enjoying a bit of clean air for the braking zone. No opening this time, but my god, a lot of pressure.
I think he might be making an opening just now. Oh, no, he's checking now.
He's definitely trying to pressure Hurricane into leaving an opening, isn't he?
Every corner, Midnight Hurricane takes every single millimeter of a space that is possible on this track. Just to make sure that he has enough place to run away from Psycho. But the slipstream is a huge of an advantage here for Psycho Kaiser.
Oh,
He's just waiting. He's just showing up right behind him.
God, it is so close between these two. Of course, slipstreaming now all the way down through Woodcut and down the start-finish straight as well. This has got to be setting up for a move. No. Okay. Oh, we see Hurricane misses the apex edge a little bit, gets a little bit sideways, but Psycho Kaiser just can't make an opportunity out of it. Has to stay behind.
That one is yet another very close side-by-side.
Psycho Kaiser
Did he
go the long way around there. Has the inside line for this right-hander. Manages to squeeze out in front, just leaves just enough space and manages to get through. That was an incredible move from Psycho Kaiser. Well done.
Now he's on the other side of the fight, of the curtain.
You're right, the hunter becomes the hunted. Ruby Nakamata in the pits. Ice Amber also in the pits. Approaching the halfway point of this race now, we're seeing more and more drivers making their pit stops. Ice Amber, of course, challenging for the lead earlier in the race, now making a pit stop and trying to just, I guess, just see if they can undercut Rayner. Back on board with a Midnight Hurricane right now. This was the battle for third, but after Ice Amber's pit stop, it's now the battle for second on track at the moment. Midnight just can't seem to keep that gap down just like Psycho Kaiser could. But I guess it's hard to see how it develops. Midnight Hurricane, no doubt, trying to learn a new rhythm there. We see Kirihara getting very sideways there in the background.
We are almost halfway through. And we will probably see even more rain in the future.
Well, but I think it's a very simple decision for the drivers. Wet tyres and lots of them. Reina Miyata in the pits right now as well, our current race leader. Which turns this battle between Kaiser and Hurricane into the battle for the lead currently. Having said that, Psycho Kaiser's looking quite comfortable up there. Take a look at Eric Gregus, currently third on track and first in AM right now. Still over the pit stop, but nonetheless has made amazing progress in the race so far and is looking very comfortable. Here we are with Zul Ekihara, second place in AM, fourth on track right now. Just using up all the curb there, no fear at all. Rona Miyata exiting the pits, currently in fifth. We see some other cars there. No, that's Miyata very comfortably out in front. Especially of Ice Amber, there's currently a 3.5 second there. Ryoma Kirihara exiting pits as well. With Ruby Nakamata just coming around turn 1 at the same time as well. DJ Overdrive currently in 9th. Still owing a pit stop, mind you, but still, been a very entertaining driver so far this race. Made some good moves by just trying to keep it clean. I Matrix Zanes as well, 5th in AM, 10th overall right now on track. The order's getting very muddled up as everyone starts doing their pit stops now. Sebastiano Rossi currently in 11th place in a very sideways Lambo there, but still keeps it pointing the right way. That's the important part. Okay, laggy there with Jordan Brunch coming up behind as well. That is for position, so currently that is a chase for 12th position. We see Jordan Brunch just getting a little bit sideways there through Stowe, but absolutely no fear. Lucas Lichten, very early pitter, currently running in 14th and running quite rapidly as well. Running quicker pace than a lot of cars around him right now. So I imagine we'll see him moving up through the field a little bit more during the race, at least. Ivano Shensoi, currently running in 15th, also one of our last drivers out without having done a pit stop. We see the top 3 all in the pit lane. Psycho Kaiser in the pit lane, Midnight Hurricane in the pit lane, Eric Gregus in the pit lane. G-Fox Foxington here. Still looking quite comfortable. Got the damage fixed on that hood as well. It's looking like it's been securely closed, so hopefully a nice little aerodynamic boost to enjoy while it's raining. Kenneth VT here, charging around in that gorgeous McLaren. Currently in 17th position. Kaito Nasa currently running in 18th position, 2.5 seconds adrift of Kenneth VT. Mukong currently in 19th. See the Ruby Nikamata there as well, just making a bit of progress. Well, I think it's time to stop the count. Zul Kihara, your AM class leader, is also the overall leader. Maybe it's just because he hasn't done the pit stop yet, but you know what? Let's not talk about that part. Zul Kihara is leading a lap in Vtracc. There's one for the CV. Question is, how long does he want to keep that up for? How long does he want to carry on before he pits? Namizero Zach, currently running in 20th in that gorgeous Ford Mustang. That's such a stylish livery on that. Dirty Kohai, currently running in 21st position. So I'm dealing with some penalties earlier and is now just trying to see what he can gain back through the course of the race. Just keeping it clean since then. And our field is rounded out by Ryuma Tateyama in the green Nissan GTR for Horsetail Motorsport. And Zul Ekihara enters pits, having successfully led a lap in Vtracc. See Ruby Nikamata here, back in 6th place, half a second behind Kirihara. And after that spin in turn 1 earlier, no doubt hungry for more progress. That car really looks like it's on edge, doesn't it? Like just the way it was leaning coming out of Beckett's there. Ruby's doing everything in her power to close that gap there. Right now it is down to half a second separating these two. Ruby driving with all the fury she's got, using up every bit of track there, even braving the exit curb, just to try and keep that gap as small as possible. 4 attempts separating these two. Dirty Air, absolutely not giving her any fear at all. Getting very close, putting a lot of pressure on Kirihara here, who ends up leaving the door open for a lunge, and Ruby has no hesitation, absolutely goes for it.
With that speed, seems like she will have more than enough time for some sort of well, comeback.
I think the comeback's well underway. Like, she's already made really good progress because we saw her down in what, 7th, 8th? And now with pit stops more or less wrapping up, there's only DJ Overdrive left who hasn't done a pit stop yet. She's back in 5th. There's still 20 minutes to go. Jordan Brunch, fan favourite, Bentley driver, currently 4 tenths behind Age Laggy. Age going a little bit defensive there in the Wellington Straight, thinking, do I need to defend this? Perhaps not. Single file braking down into Brooklands here. But still, Jordan Brunch getting very close up through Luffield. This is quickly shaping up to be a drag race through Woodcut and approaching Copse. 4 attempts separating the two right now. What's it going to be at the end of the straight? John Brunch makes the most of that slipstream as much as possible, but can't quite find an opportunity just yet. Just can't quite eke out the top speed over that BMW right now. Nonetheless, back that bumper.
He seemed to brake earlier there to get some clear space.
He did, but he must have used it to just gain some extra speed through the corner as well, because that gap shrunk a lot approaching Maggots. Though it has grown again now. Maybe just difficulty following in dirty air. Again, though, you can just see it in the movements of the car. A little bit of slideways there through Stowe as well. You can just tell Jordan Brunch wants this position. Keeping it very clean, keeping the pressure on. Also, DJ Overdrive there in the foreground of the shot as well. Our last driver who hasn't had a pit stop yet, currently running in second, and back to Jordan Brunch though, who is now right up behind Laggy again. Seems that every time this gap grows, Jordan Brunch just makes it shrink again. Little bit of sausage there on that apex, but nothing too bad, just the suspension doing what it's meant to. See Laggy going a little bit defensive there as well. Again, wondering, do I need to be defensive here? No. Okay, I guess I'll use the whole width for the track then. DJ Overdrive enters the pits. That is the last of our mandatory pit stops that is about to be wrapped up. See the flashing lights on that Lexus. It's absolutely gorgeous in those colours. I love it. Back to the battle right now for, well, I suppose it's 9th now. 8th, sorry. Jordan Brunch hunting down Age Laggy. A little bit of a snap there, but nothing too bad. Not much lost in it. Coming down the hangar straight, again just looking for an opportunity anywhere. Oh, just overshoots a little bit to Stowe as well. It's a little bit upset by the dirty air. A little bit thrown off.
That's...
Oh, and there's contact as well. John Brunch slowing down as well, letting Laggy take the position back. Now it's back to business as usual. Just with Zulaki Hara here in the mix, separating the two now. Zulaki Hara, of course, in AM class, so these are not positions that'll count for points, but nonetheless, if Jordan Brunch wants to get past Age Laggy, he's going to have to get past Zulaki Hara first. Again, we see Jordan Brunch is getting so close through the loop there as well. Lucas Lichten there in the background as well, just getting ready to join this fight as well. We see a mistake there for Zulaki Hara running wide in Brooklands and letting Jordan Brunch through. Zulaki Hara now in the unfortunate position of having just swapped Jordan Brunch in his mirror for Lucas Lichten. I don't know about you, Adrian, but I know which of these two drivers I'd rather have in my mirror.
Which one? I can't... Well, I don't know which one I would have wanted, because I personally drove, I think, only against Jordan Brunch. But usually Lucas Lichten was either way too far ahead of me, or I was just blue flag, so I let him through. So I never had an actual racing situation with Lucas Lichten. So I can say which one I would rather want to have behind me. And yeah.
That's very fair. We're also seeing the battle for third heating up here a little bit. Psycho Kaiser currently in third, Midnight Hurricane in fourth, less than a second behind Psycho Kaiser. And on your screen right now, Ruby Nakamata in 5th place, less than a second behind Midnight Hurricane. These gaps are shrinking, these cars are converging, and soon it's going to have to heat up in order to figure out who goes where. Ruby's still driving with all the fury of a recovery drive right now as well. You can just see it in the lines she's taking, the way that car holds itself, that she is really pushing it. Even there in Cobbs, absolutely braving that exit curb. The one that lowered down about, what was it, 15, 20 minutes ago? But still, she's back on it for revenge now.
It doesn't make any easier that right in front of them there is another fight going between DJ Overdrive and Vtracc Saints for the P3 in AM class. You're having two different classes fighting for some of the best positions out there fighting with each other.
That's a very good point. Although I suppose you'll know which ones are happy about it, which ones aren't, once we see where everyone ends up afterwards.
Seems
See
like
DJ
DJ's
Overdrive there,
making,
just letting people
DJ's
through.
making, yeah, the safe move.
Makes sense not to take any risks, not in a race like this where so much can already go wrong. Following Lucas Lichten here as well. Lucas Lichten already just passing Zul Akihara there. Jordan Brunch next in line. I always really enjoy this livery as well. It's very minimalist, but I love the initial D inspiration especially. It's gorgeous, I love it. Speaking of nice liveries as well, back on board with DJ Overdrive right now, currently hunting down Vtracc Zanes.
His move paid off. He's already right onto the spoiler of Vtracc Zane's. Very close to taking that position from him.
With that mistake, yeah, but not quite enough, not this time. So we'll have to see what happens next time. Very close, making the most of that slipstream, pulling out alongside here, coming into Cops, but no opts not to make a move into Cops. Playing it safe for now. Still 14 minutes left in this race, plenty of time to get a move done. Back to Ivano Shensoi here as well, currently hunting down Zach in the Mustang. These two are so close right now. Ivano Shensoi pulls up alongside, and now it's just a drag race all the way down, start finish straight all the way to turn 1. Ivano Shensoi on the shorter line, up against pure American horsepower, manages to get the move done, gets out in front. Does he manage to hold it through Cops? Slightly misses the apex. But it looks like he's secure, yes. Ivano Shensoi moves into 18th place. DJ Overdrive still pressuring Vtracc Zanes here very heavily. Those cars are so close together. See DJ Overdrive there just running a little wide on that exit curve as well. Vtracc Zanes running a little bit defensive. But ends up just leaving DJ Overdrive to drive in the dirty air, that dirty turbulent air that will cost them downforce through these vertical corners. A little bit of a mistake there from Vtracc Zanes in Village. Manages to get DJ Overdrive alongside through the loop, but not quite enough through Aintree. But DJ Overdrive needs to make the most of that slipstream. Try and find any top speed he can, try and get a lunge into
About to lunge.
Here it is. And there you go, DJ Overdrive moves into 13th place with a beautiful lunge. Back to Lucas Lichten hunting down Jordan Brunch. Again, these two cars very close together. Lucas Lichten quickly finding a way alongside. Coming up through Village. Manages to hold it there as well, coming up into the loop. Yep, Lucas Lichten just manages to slip through, slip out in front, and then just get on with business as usual. Beautifully done by Lucas Lichten there. Ruby Nakamata here, just navigating Beckett's. See the battle for third really heating up there. Midnight Hurricane really hounding Psycho Kaiser up there, and Ruby Nekomata ready for any kind of opportunity that might present itself, as we see Psycho Kaiser running a little bit wide out of Stowe there, running very defensive into Vale. Midnight Hurricane considers a lunge, but ends up letting it go, just not enough space, not with that defensive line. Can't get the move done just yet. But no doubt Midnight Hurricane's thinking about that one, because I feel like we just saw the pressure that Psycho Kaiser's under starting to boil over a little bit. What do you think?
I think we will see it within a span of next 10 minutes more than we can see it right now, as the apparent weather is supposed to be even heavier by then.
It is, and it will just be a question of adapting to the conditions as well. Seeing which of these drivers is best at adapting to the changing conditions. It's exactly how they got here, so they should know how to do it. But I suppose we will just have to wait and see. Stay tuned, everyone.
For me, it feels like that Midnight Hurricane is right now under more pressure than Psycho Kaiser, solely because of the fact that there is somebody behind him.
I guess there is that problem, right? Like, if you're in a train of 3 cars, the most difficult place to be is the middle, right?
Technically, yes.
I'll take technically correct. See a little mistake there from Tateyama as well. Back on board with Ruby Nekomata as well, back in this chase for 3rd place. Midnight Hurricane's losing ground a little bit on Psycho Kaiser, which just means that he's tumbling backwards into the jaws of Ruby Nekomata. Yeah, Ruby just hitting all the marks there. Again, a little bit of a snap there for Stowe. We're seeing that from so many drivers right now. But it doesn't seem to have scared her at all. Heavy on the brakes into Vale. Very heavy on the accelerator for Club as well, making the most of that acceleration.
We can see it right now, because Psycho made up again a gap of 1 second to Midnight Hurricane. But the gap between Midnight Hurricane and Ruby Nekomata is being kept all the time more or less the same. So like Midnight Hurricane is being kept away by Psycho. Or more like he plays very passively, I would say. I think it would be fitting here to say that Midnight Hurricane is driving passively, just waiting for a mistake and not trying to force opponent to doing one, like Psycho did to every single time when he looked into Midnight Hurricane mirrors. And Ruby Nekomata is just waiting right now for what Hurricane will do. Seeing as they are both very similar paced, they both are playing right now on a passive mode, while Psycho is just doing his thing.
We see a drive-through there for Ivana Shensoi as well in the closing stages of the race. That is so good to see. We'll go back to the battle right now for 3rd position right now. Ruby Nekomata hunting down Midnight Hurricane. That gap is very tight coming out of Beckett's right now. The two separated by just 3 tenths. Ruby making the most of that slipstream. This may not be the opportunity, but if it isn't, there is going to be one soon. No doubt she's thinking that. That is what's going through her mind. All she's got to do is keep it clean. Just have a mix there. We see a drive-through for Jordan Brunch here as well, diving into the pits to serve it immediately, get it out the way and get it over and done with. Back of the chase for, well, 4th position now, I suppose, Midnight Hurricane. Really under pressure right now from Ruby Nekomata. He really is just keeping this pressure on constantly. Like, whatever counts as a break during this can't feel like much of a break. Because the easy times when this gap opens up, it's still half a second. What do you think? Does this kind of psychological pressure, do you think that ends up playing into the fact that the track is so wet as well?
Oh, definitely. The only thing we don't know is how much focus they are putting on to keeping the car on the track and how much focus they are putting on to making sure where the other person on the track right now is.
That's true, that is a good question.
We can see right now difference between Psycho Kaiser and Midnight Hurricane is 2 seconds. So at this point, Psycho Kaiser is just minding pretty much his own business. He's just driving the best he can.
No
While
doubt getting
Midnight Hurricane is not only stressed from attempting to catch up to Psycho Kaiser, but as well being stressed because of the fact that there is somebody behind him.
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought about that Psycho Kaiser's getting a chance to relax while all of this unfolds behind him.
The one advantage that Midnight Hurricane might have right now is that the thing that Ruby Nakamata, if I recall correctly, beat it earlier than Midnight. So technically Ruby's tire wear should be right now a bit worse than Midnight Hurricane.
Pit window is closing now.
That's a good point, especially with like how she's been driving it as well. After that one spin, I'm sure she's been trying to get every last tenth out of this car just to try and regain that ground she lost. God, there's so much water on that windscreen as well. Visibility must be awful right now for these drivers. Spray doesn't look too bad from inside the car, but you can still tell when there's that much water on the windscreen, it's going to be even worse on the track. Still just keeping that pressure on. We are dropped by Icer Amber right now, currently putting pressure on Reina Miata, our race leader. This is our battle for first place. Trying to navigate around the Lambo of Sebastiano Rossi there, but as soon as they're through, Icer Amber's going to get right back to it, trying to a little bit of a slide there through cops, a little bit of lost pace. You just see Sebastiano closing in there a little bit, but not taking the position, just following. Icer Amber getting back on track, hunting down Reina Miata to try and challenge for the race win at the closing stages of this race.
Everyone will soon start showing all of their cards, what they have on hand. The closer to the end of the race, the more risky some drivers will be.
Makes sense. It's very much now or never, isn't it? Especially any driver who
Now or never might be for Ruby, as she's only 1/10 away from Midnight Hurricane right now. And
as she just runs up the outside there, coming up into Stoke, tries to go the long way around, holds it on the outside line. Looking good so far, a little bit sideways. God, so
a
close
little bit of banking.
Just a little bit, yeah, but Ruby's still alongside, coming into Vale. Heavy braking there, but just keeps it alongside, just trying to keep in the way of Midnight Hurricane using the whole track width. Midnight Hurricane manages to lose the overlap, but Ruby comes out of club with such an overspeed here, having to look up the inside into Abby. It's a brave move if she dares. She thinks better of it this time. Nonetheless, she's close enough that she could make a move up here into Village. Is she going to? Midnight Hurricane doesn't seem to be worried too much about it. But still, these two are so close together. Ruby looking up the inside into the loop there. No move this time. Just keeping it clean for now. Just trying to make the most of the Wellington straight up ahead. A little bit of a sideways wiggle there for Ruby. Very slight, but you can tell she's not scared at all by it.
Oh, that was
just a little bit late on the brakes and a very last minute adjustment just to try and avoid contact there. Very quick reactions there, very cat-like reflexes. Back to Ice Amber, currently hunting down Reina Miata for the race win. Ice Amber, very strong driver. Reina Miata also very strong. It's a real battle of the titans unfolding here for the race lead in the closing stages. The two drivers in equal machinery, both driving Honda NSXs, so all the difference is going to come down to the driver. See who can make the most of it. See Ice Ramber just using every little bit of grip and then a little bit more as it wiggled through Stowe. Coming up through Club looking very stable. And now with Vono Shenso here, we get to watch this battle a little bit from the rear wing cam. Look at that. That could be Reina Miata getting held up a little bit in traffic there, hesitating a little bit on going for the inside. But no such problem for Ice Amber, who knows that that door's wide open. Ice Amber getting straight back to business, trying to hunt down Reina Miata. God, the difference in exit speed there as well. The time of it being where it is, I imagine this will be the final lap. This is it. One last chance for Ice Amber to try and find a little bit of overspeed to try and get a move done. See, it's getting tight. Using every last bit of track to accelerate as much as possible. Turn this into a drag race down for the finish line. What's it going to be? Reina Miata just tries to keep it clean, keep it straight. Ice Ramber tucked into that slipstream, looking for every little advantage, but it's not enough. Reina Miata wins the Vtracc challenge in Silverstone. Psycho Kaiser just rounding out the closing stages of the lap as well. Very comfortable gap behind him as he brings it home. Driving nice and close to the pit wall, even touching it a little bit there to celebrate with the pit crew, taking home third place. Midnight Hurricane comes home in fourth. Ruby Nekamata remains in fifth. Ryoma Kirihara here brings it home in sixth. Under pressure a little bit from Eric Regis there, who is our AM race winner. And Lucas Lichten here awarded a drive-through on the final lap of the race.
That one will very hard keep standings of this race, as the drive-through is not anymore possible to do. So he unfortunately got it at the worst time possible.
Yeah, it's a fairly hefty time penalty, so he's just going to have to cross the finish line and hope that he doesn't lose out too much for it. That's gutting, though. Look at 30-second penalty there for Lucas Lichten, as we see Age Lagi crossing the line as well, and Zul Akihara second place in AM. DJ Overdrive is third in AM as well, wrapping up the AM podium. Jordan Brunch here just wrapping up the lap as well. And the crowd favourite Bentley brings it home in 11th place overall. That is 9th in Pro. Ryoma Tateyama, the GTR that just will not give up, keeps on fighting till the end, rounds out the final corner, and wraps up this race. It's definitely been a tough race. We've seen a lot of people effectively just trying to fight with pressure, trying to force mistakes, and drivers who are just incredibly resistant to it, haven't we?
Yes.
So that concludes our... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to say that, well, I'm not so sure what really to say anymore. It was definitely a hard race. Silverstone is not the easiest one out there. And despite the track being, well, flat, there is quite a few places that can be very surprising. And in this case, all of the drivers have been very watchful for those places. So we didn't really saw much of those places happening, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's true. Our driver's done an amazing job of managing the conditions throughout this race. Vtracc will be back in 2 weeks' time for the third round, taking place in Watkins Glen. Hopefully we'll see you all there. Thank you for joining. I'm April Carlsford. I've been your commentator. I've been joined in here by Adrian Dubrovka.
Well, I guess we can tell you good evening again, and hope we'll find you again at Racetrack.
Good evening.